Oh, these are the first few steps, and those were the last steps in a hugely ambitious running challenge that we've had to run more than we've ever run in a month and run every day. It was hard, and it went better for one of us than it did the other one.
I think we spend our lives limiting ourselves without even knowing it. Of course, sometimes it's for our own good, but mainly we tread this imaginary line of our own making between pushing ourselves, but also not too much that it takes us beyond those perceived limits. And it annoys me. What having this channel, meeting and interacting with so many of you, and watching your stories has shown me is that our actual limits are way further than we believe. So I want to start seeing what we can really do, where my limits really might be. What kind of things have I never been able to do, but I want to see if I can.
And our first few runs will be on the beautiful island of Koh Samet. But here's a little more context.
Well, I might as well tell you what we're doing. We're trying to run 10k every day, or at least an average of, so that we can hit 300 kilometers for a month, because we've never done 300 kilometers in a month, either of us. So that's the kind of aim, because the last time we put in big volume at easy paces, we took the next step up in terms of our running and ran some incredible PBs. So that's the aim for this, consistency.
The thing is, if we can crack this challenge, it will be the first time we've hit 300 kilometers for the month, but it's also the fact that we're running every day. And even by day 4, our legs knew we'd been putting hills in them, but being on holiday made it much easier.
And when you think that our usual weekly elevation is about 0 meters, then our first 5 runs of the month were 800 meters. It's not huge, but it's enough to feel the difference. And didn't our Achilles know it?
Day 5, and what we're doing today is we're actually splitting our runs, one in the morning, one in the evening, because we're driving home halfway through the day from our holiday, and we just thought that's the most sensible. So we figuring as long as we get the 10k a day, or average of, it's all good. Legs are feeling tight though already.
And we figured that this is our challenge, so we're going to slice it how best works for us, our bodies and our lives. So we got home and we commenced a few days of flat running.
I think we actually found the first 5 days harder than we expected, purely because for so long when we live in a flat city, we just don't have hills.
Yeah.
And Samet is hilly.
Yeah, we went to the island and everywhere you turn, you're facing hills, and it was a bit of a shock to the system.
In a good way and a bad way, because of course you're using different muscles in different ways. You can't run necessarily as fast, so there's less impact.
Yeah.
But the strain on the Achilles and using those muscles in different ways was a bit of a surprise.
My legs were definitely feeling it, and I distinctly remember on day 4 thinking, I'm sure my legs shouldn't feel like this on day 4.
But the good thing was that it was a holiday. So when we weren't running, we were just fully relaxing. We were having massages as and when we could. We were not kind of putting any excess burden on our legs.
Yeah, we were resting loads and living a pretty healthy, restful life.
And then it ended, and we had to drive home.
Day 6, early morning run, back in our home area, the local run route. 10k, very, very steady for me today. Legs are feeling a little bit tired, so just nice and easy, and feeling the joy.
The issue being, for me at least, is that I also wanted to film a video of me attempting Eliud Kipchoge marathon pace. So I got to the track and I ran at my top pace for a kilometre, and I'd already done that on the treadmill earlier in the day. And I guess only time was going to tell if this was a sensible idea.
Day 7, we thought we'd take a leaf out of the Ethiopian's book, start super slowly and build in. Legs are feeling it today, but we're coming on a different route, so.
And then for a couple of days back home, it was actually really nice to have flat terrain and no hills.
Which is what we moan about when we're here, and then you suddenly are like, oh, that's quite nice to be flat and feel like you're fast again.
Yeah.
So it was nice, although obviously, as you saw, I sprinkled in some real intensity while I was trying to run Kipchoge pace, and I don't know how that affected my Achilles.
Yeah, and I think that's when we noticed the temperature soaring, and it was really the start of the heat wave, which made the whole challenge slightly tricky as well.
Especially as we were flying to Koh Phangan, which was the next stop in our holiday, and we know that that is also a hilly island.
Then, on day 8, we trained early before flying to Koh Phangan. And day 9, we met up with our friend Simon to knock out 20 hilly kilometres. Obviously, this came at a calculated cost of very tired legs for the next couple of days, but we had credit in that we were ahead of schedule.
So we chose to run 5 kilometers for the next couple of days to help the legs recover, and we also used the great masseuses at our hotel every day to keep the legs recovering and reducing the soreness. But ultimately, as tired as our legs were getting, it was a pretty joyful experience exploring at our own pace and resting for the rest of the day. It was 5 runs, but then back to reality and home, and soon to be work.
Day 13, and let me tell you, the 13 days of running so far have not been normal 13 days. It's been hilly. Most runs are about 200, 300, 400 meters of elevation just for the 10k, so legs are definitely feeling it right now.
So 5 runs, 1,160 meters of elevation covered over 50 kilometers, and we were ready for phase 2.
And just like that, the island holiday was over, the double island holiday, Koh Samet, then Koh Phangan. And what I would say, if I reflected back on Koh Phangan, is that it was really hard because of the hills. It was quite intense, but it was manageable, and it was made manageable because we were having daily massages, and we were relaxing when we weren't running.
Yeah.
And I felt like we could get through it because of that.
Yeah, and I think I had a mind shift in that time there about the hills, because I was kind of scared of them and how they were making my body feel, but it was such a beautiful place, and I could feel my body getting used to them and my mind getting used to the feeling. And there's so many benefits to running hills, and I really reflected on that, and I enjoyed the running there so much, and it was so beautiful.
And it was confidence building, I guess you would say. We came out of it feeling like we'd done 14 days running an average of 10 kilometers a day, 140k already, and we felt like, all right, that's our platform.
Yeah, I felt good, I felt well rested, I felt energized, and I was loving it.
But it was nearly time to go back to work.
And phase 2 was really just the lead up to going back to work, and then that first week back at work. So first off, I hit the treadmill for a couple of days to try and give myself a bit of reduced impact running after running on the roads a lot over the holidays.
That's me done. Thanks for filming, Mary. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling really good, actually. It's been lucky we've been off work for the last 2 weeks, so the challenge I think is ahead, but so far really enjoying it and feeling pretty good. Just a few sore bits of muscle, but just a few little sore how do you say it?
Some tightness.
Some tightness in some muscles, but nothing really much to speak of. I'm doing better than I expected I would.
And we tried to bank a 20-kilometer long run on the Sunday to get ahead of the curve, because we knew we got a few tricky days ahead in the first week back at work.
I found Simon, tagged along with Simon today, and actually it's making the long run a lot easier straight away, a lot easier to manage.
And the pace here was a little punchier than I'd anticipated, to be honest. So the working week started off okay, and we both bagged 10 kilometers, and I even got a gym session in. Tuesday was a parents' evening, so we got up early and got 5 kilometers in the bank, and Wednesday we got another 10 kilometers in.
Excuse the bad light, but this is what it is. It's 20 past 6, and I didn't think I was going to make it today, if I'm honest. Like, the run, my Achilles really hurt, and I'll show you the other reason in a minute, but Mary's knocking out 10k on the treadmill because it's just 42 degrees outside, too hot, and it's day 19. But this is the other thing that we're dealing with at the moment now that's going to cause lack of sleep. If you don't know, this is Jesse, and Jesse has just had an operation on his leg. Oh, sorry, Jess. He's just had an operation on his leg, and he's not dealing with it very well. He's a bit of a drama queen, so we're having to look after him a lot.
But from Thursday, and particularly for me, it began to fall apart. And then Saturday, for me, this happened.
Yeah, it's not happening today. I'm at day 22, 210 kilometers, but just felt rubbish today. Not ill, but just achy, and I'm factoring in 20k tomorrow. So that will put me basically back on track. That will put me at 230 kilometers in 23 days. So that's how I'm rolling with it now. It's the only way I think I'm going to get through this without picking up an injury. However, Mary is just fitting in a little bit now. Hello.
Hi.
You're getting it done, I'm not.
As much as I can in 20-25 minutes is what it is today.
But we were determined to push and see this through, so we met up with John on day 23 for the long run because he was doing the same challenge, and I think we just needed to meet up and get a bit of power and inspiration for that last push.
Hey look, 3 of the 4 of the crew are out running on day 23. John's actually doing it as well. So you've got 25 to do today and then you're up to date with it as well. So we're all out 20k today. How you feeling?
Feeling good actually.
Yeah, I suppose we're going at a nice conversational pace and that helps a lot. This is definitely up there as one of the harder 20Ks we've done, but we're finishing it. And I've done 20.2k right now, which puts me bang on an average of 10k a day on the 23rd day. You?
I just did 20.1. I'm actually now about 8k ahead. So I've got a bit of wiggle room this week.
It's in the bank for Mary.
This was a really good week for me, and it was actually the week I felt like my fitness clicked and moved forwards, and the data was telling me that it was really improving as well, and I could feel it.
And me, on the other hand, as you saw, first day that I wasn't able to run at all, and then I had the long run. I started to do everything that I could throughout that working week to make the runs nearly up to 10k. Some days I had to do 7ks, some day 5k, some day a couple of 5ks. Like I was nudging and nurdling rather than it being easy like it was for you, and I think that comes down to what our legs are like in general anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say every run was easy, but overall I was definitely feeling good that week.
And I was not, but I was holding on.
And this was it, the last week, and as Monday came around again, I was pleasantly surprised that my legs held out for another 10k, and in fact so did Mary's. But it was Tuesday, with the associated lack of sleep thanks to Jessie, that things started to fall apart for me. I only managed 5k before I felt that I had to stop because of Achilles pain. But I was so pleased for Mary because she kept grinding on.
Day 25, I'm here on the track. Not doing my usual Track Tuesday session, which would be intervals, something like kilometre repeats, just because my body feels like it can't take too much more aggravation. So I've got a few niggles, so it's just going to be 10k easy, 25 laps around the track.
And then on Wednesday I somehow gutted out 10 kilometres on the treadmill. It was really slow, but I made sure there wasn't any pain. And Mary cashed in some of her bonus kilometres and ran 7 kilometres, but seemed to be flying. She was really loving her running and getting into the groove. I couldn't even run in the mornings anymore because I was too sore and I had to ease into the day. And as Mary did another 7 kilometres on day 27, that was finally it for me. It was adapt or be injured. But I'm counting the kilometres anyway because the elliptical measures kilometres, and that was the pattern for us from there.
Not as fun.
I'd get 10 kilometres done on the elliptical every day to ensure I'd be able to race in May, and Mary kept going on the road.
Day 28, my last early morning run before work.
Using a little bit of her credit each time to keep it going. Ultimately, I wanted to prioritise my health over a challenge that I made the rules on anyway.
That's a wrap on day 28, 7k done before school. My last working day, fitting it in, and 2 days to go.
And our penultimate days were a bit different, but they both ultimately left us with 15 kilometres to do on the last day, which would make 300 kilometres each for the month and 600 kilometres in total, something neither of us had ever achieved.
Last day, 15k. You know what they say?
Let's do it.
I didn't rhyme. All right, we're off. This is going to be interesting to see how the Achilles goes today. See if I've given it enough time off. We had to stop. Mentally and physically, I'm shot to bits. And I've been thinking about this. I mean, I know people do bigger distances in a month, every month, and I get that. First of all, I'm old. I'm not going to speak to Mary. But second of all, I have a job as a PE teacher in a country that goes up to, at the moment, 45 degrees, and it's 7 till 4 in the day. The physicality of what's needed to do that. Then you're trying to put this on top. I think it's just absolutely spannered me. But we've got 10k left. What about you, Mare? How are you feeling about this whole thing?
Yeah, there's been a few big takeaways for me. One big one is that I am capable of more than I give myself credit for or believe sometimes. And it's a bit like when I did the training like Philly Bowden for a week. I did more kilometres in a week and sessions that I didn't usually do. And I think when you push yourself that little bit further, you unlock a new level that you know you can do.
Yeah.
And that's what's for me. I've done 300 kilometres and I'm doing okay. And like yesterday was a great day. So
Doing better than me.
Oh,
Come on, let's finish. It's fine, let's finish. Come on. Done. That is 300 kilometres each, 600 kilometres total for the month.
I'm just
Oh
happy
my-
my watch stayed charged. I didn't miss anything out on my watch or not record or run.
Yeah, everything on Strava.
All right, here's the payoff in the hope that it can help you in some way. For me, running 300 kilometers in a month is at the very edge of what I can currently do because of my legs and the physicality of my work. The very nature of being a PE teacher it's just hard to fit it in. So I'm really proud of myself and I'm proud that I made it happen regardless of having to tweak it. And you, Mare?
For me, well, I said about pushing my limits, but also secondly, my fitness has really increased and the data's saying that. It's come at a trade-off that I haven't really done any strength and conditioning because of the daily focus on running. But fitness is good. Let's just hope it can last and my body stays injury-free.
And here's how we see if this all worked. In the next month we have 3 races, so consider subscribing to the channel and seeing if there is any payoff for this hard work over the month. And if you liked the video, you're definitely going to like this one where I tried to give up sugar for 30 days and it was horrendous, but actually really interesting results. Yeah. Thanks for watching. See you next Sunday.